You live? I live. Hi, how are you? Greetings, salutations, and hello. Am I giving you 2005, 2008 fantasy? Hello. Hello. I just wanted to come on with these gloves because they're so cute. But I'm going to take them off because we are going to have a cafecito with me. But today, it's going to be a little bit different. I learned from last time. I have my cafecito in my color changing cup. And look at this cute, it's from 7-Eleven and it's cute. And so we are going to talk about a folklore creature, deity, possibly from my motherland, Oaxaca. Last time we talked about duendes and two stories that were personal to me, my fam. And today we are going to do that as well, but not about duendes, but about la matlazihua. What's the matlazihua? Well, I'm glad you asked, you inquisitive person. La matlazihua is not a creature, although some people have described it as creature, but the most common descriptors of la matlazihua are, well, what is it first? Not sure. There's a couple of theories. Some people think it's a spirit of a jaded woman. Some people think that it's actually the wife of the ruler of the underworld. And I wrote it down because I'm gonna butcher it, because some people think that it's actually matlazihua, which is a goddess, and it is the wife of the deity of the underworld, el inframundo, and that is otherwise known as Mictlan, and his name is Mictlantecutli.
Bro, it's pronounced Mictlantecutli.
That's how it's pronounced. Thank you so much, friend. And now, back to my rant. Look, English is hard. That wasn't English. Shut up. Language? So, some people think she's a mythic creature, folklore. She's not folklore. Well, she's part of folklore, but some people think she's a spirit or a myth. A cryptid, possibly? And how would she be a cryptid? Well, let me first explain by how she is described. She is described as thin, fair-skinned, seductress eyes, and red lips. So, you know, nothing like this boy. And she tends to appear dressed in white, or dressed in white with a black rebozo, which is this black shawl, white garb, and the main thing, is that she's beautiful. She is aesthetically pleasing. Sorry, I was like, she is aesthetically pleasing. And that is important because la matlazihua is said to lure men. Ooh. So, how does she lure men? Which men does she lure? What? Who? Well, I'm glad you're asking all these questions. So, we established what people think she is and how she appears. Now, why does she lure men? what kind of men does she lure? Well, they say that borrachos y mujeriegos, the drunkard and the womanizers. What? So that's why some people think she's a jaded spirit rather than, yeah. One of the tales, and I also wrote those down because I hadn't actually heard of this. So I have heard of la matlazihua ever since I was a kid, and they usually say, "Oh, no andes tomando, don't go drinking, because la matlazihua will get you." So we just grew up hearing that. Like, if you're raise your hand if you are Oaxacan and you grew up with the tale of la matlazihua. So one of the there's multiple different variations of tales, and I think every single area, every single town has slight different variations. We are from La Sierra Norte, so this is ours specific to our little town. There's a lot of towns, so yeah. So the way that I heard of la matlazihua, the way that they described was not actually thin or fair skinned, but like an attractive lady, a beautiful, attractive lady. But the way that men would figure out that it was not a lady or not a human was because she had hooved feet. Now, while doing some light research on this, I actually didn't find mentions of hooved feet, but while talking with other friends, they've mentioned that they've had similar folklore about like hooved feet women seducing men. So I think la matlazihua is kind of interesting because she seduces the drunkards and the womanizers as a way of retribution or to teach them a lesson. One of the things is that the men get lured by this gorgeous woman, and while they're entranced, they end up following her into like ditches. He drives men into bushes that are prickly or just dry, and so they get hurt, and then they go, oh my god. Or in other variations, she keeps luring, and when they catch up to her, they notice she's death. Not dead, death, like la muerte. So like I said, there's slightly different variations of this beautiful being that preys on the drunks. And it's one of the things that you hear. La matlazihua te va a agarrar. Don't be going out too late. Don't be drinking too much. Oh yeah, so and so la matlazihua dragged him. And I think that it's in one way I think it's kind of funny, because I can see that being like a good boogeyman for drunk men. Like, keep your ass at home, sir. But also I think that it's a good excuse. Like, I don't know, I wasn't that drunk. You see, la matlazihua dragged me. No, you see, la matlazihua lured me into the bushes, wife of mine, and that is why I'm covered in bushes. I didn't drunkenly fall. So, you know, but there's enough stories and tales and possible interactions, and that is why today I'm going to tell you about one of my uncles. He had an encounter with la matlazihua. Now, let me preface this by saying, man, I mean, he's dead now. You don't want to talk bad about the dead. But it's not, no tea, no shade. He was a drunkard. Like, if ever there was a drunkard, it was him. Sorry, uncle. Rest in peace. Oh, he's my great uncle. But anyways, he was known as like a drinker. So it was no surprise when I heard la matlazihua took him. But here's where it gets a little interesting, because most of the stories that I've told, or that I've read or that I've heard, just say that it kind of lures you, scares you, but not many talk about it dragging you, dragging men. So that's interesting. Right? Like, so my uncle had left wherever he had gone to drink. They don't really have bars in this little town. It's there's these little shops that sell miscellaneous things like snackies and soap and sometimes yogurts or juices. Like, they're miscellaneous foods, and sometimes those serve alcohol, and people tend to have their libations there, you know. So my uncle had left the libation dispensary and was walking, minding his own business, when he ran into la matlazihua, and it got him and dragged him, like dragged all through part of the town. Like, people heard him yelling, because that's what my mom said, that people heard this man get dragged, and he got dragged like a good amount through part of the town, and he ended up from where he was walking to, oh, remember I talked about the town being kind of, because mountains. Okay, so he couldn't have tumbled to from where he was walking. Now, could he have gotten lost? Sure, but not dragged. People heard him crying out for help, and he was dragged. Like, you could see drag marks of something had dragged him, and they found him in a ditch, just like just bruised up and, you know, scratched up from the dragging. He survived. That's not how he died. He died because of the old and the alcohol. So yeah, so that is one of the things that everyone, like, whenever people in that town have told me about la matlazihua, that's one of those stories that people reference. They're like, oh yeah, Tío, insert his name here. I know his name, I just don't want to, you know. And they're like, oh, that happened to Tío da-da-da? Oh yeah, Tío da-da-da. I heard he got dragged from la matlazihua. And, you know, small town, hearsay, what have you. But I think it's a super interesting little, like, oh man, because it does hold some of the trademarks of la matlazihua, which is goes after drunks and teaches them a lesson. And it's this really big held belief. So yeah, that was a short one today. Yeah, I've never ran into it. I don't think I want to, but the curious part of me is like, wouldn't it be neat? But yeah, so that's happened to my uncle, And one of the well-known stories is the story of Jose Antonio. He was a womanizer, sharp-dressed, handsome fella that was a womanizer, and apparently he had a very nice mustache. That's a couple of the articles I read. That's how they described him. Very important that we know that his mustache was très bien, sehr gut, wunderbar. It didn't say that verbatim. Yeah. Anyways, homie was a drunk. He would drink by the growler, by the bottle, and he didn't work. He just sold off his dad's cattle. Which, that was nice. I don't know if that came on camera, but it did. You're welcome for the crunchy neck. So he would, you know, he would be like, to all the ladies. And he's a bit of a womanizer. He's a bit of a drunk. And his father would warn him, son of mine, if you continue on this, something bad's gonna happen. Some sort of retribution. And that happened. He ran into la matlazihua, lure, and what do you know? When he caught up to her, he realized she was death. And I guess she dragged him or something. I don't know. There's different accounts. There's different little tales. Like I said, this is a kind of a word of mouth kind of stories. And basically they found him naked in a ditch in los matorrales, like in the bushes. And then he didn't die. It didn't kill him. It just scared him. And that's what la matlazihua was supposed to do. She doesn't kill you. She scares you. It's supposed to be some sort of, you're just desserts. You're reaping what you're sowing. And I guess that's one of the major things of la matlazihua. I know that this was super duper base level. It's probably still gonna be a little long. Hopefully you enjoyed this story and cafecito with me. I'm just living for the straw. Like, look how cute. Thank you so much for watching, and later, gator. Ain't a wild crocodile. Peace in the Middle East. You're a poet, you just don't know it, and